So I'm going to talk to you about how we define learner burnout. Okay. The two essential components of this are obviously the learner and the sensation of burnout. We're defining the term learner as a person who's trying to gain knowledge or skills in something by studying, practicing, or being taught whatever it might be. Our goal is not to pigeonhole the idea or concept of who a learner is to any one specific group. So, a learner is anybody who can be involved within the learning process, and ultimately, that makes them susceptible to potentially experiencing learning or learner burnout. Um, I would see why people would generally think, well, if you're learning, you're probably in school, and that would mean you're probably someone in that traditional K through 12 mold. That's not what we're shooting for. While yes, people who are in school are learning, you can learn in any field, any organization, any walk of life. So that's how we're defining learner. In terms of burnout, we're defining burnout as consisting of the feelings of energy depletion or exhaustion, increased mental distance from your job, and decreased professional efficiency. So, in the context of school, or in the context of organizations, or in the context of life, these are applicable in any way, shape, or form for the most part. That increased mental distance, what we mean by that is that there's a separation caused by the stress of what somebody might be going through within their role. Statistically speaking, while women are more likely to experience emotional exhaustion and men are more likely to experience these feelings of depersonalization, not feeling like they can even be themselves within the confines of their jobs, gender doesn't have any major influence on who's going to experience burnout. If anything, it deals more with the social political aspects of things. For example, in the United States, with more traditionally based conservative atmospheres that don't necessarily have all the rights, privileges, and protections that more progressive societies might have, you're more likely to experience burnout because there's not as many options in terms of your rights within the school or your rights within the workplace. Um, there are other factors that definitely do impact this. These factors can be found in any organization or any school. Culture does play a huge role with that. Um, Conflict plays a role within that, whether fully realized or even just the concept of it could be mental, it could be physical, doesn't necessarily matter. And then also whether or not the people who are in charge of that organization in a direct supervisory role or even the overall leader. If people are not teaching, reinforcing, or practicing what they preach in terms of how their organization should run or how things should occur or even how to get through your day, positive coping mechanisms in response to the daily stressors that we all have as part of our learning and our progressions within our roles, then that will lead to burnout. So ultimately, I'm going to address this more in the next slide where I go into some examples.